So I watched the film Karate Kid for the first time last night after doing a trail run for 10 kilometers. And I was tired, but I uh, came back to the room and I watched Karate Kid. When it came out in the 1980s, I think, I didn't actually watch it for some reason or another. I knew it was a hit because I saw the image everywhere. Daniel and, of course, Mr. Miyagi, played by Pat Morita. So I was aware of the film, but for some reason or another, I didn't see it. But as you may know, um, Netflix Netflix is releasing Cobra Kai, which is a drama series inspired by Karate Kid franchise, and so I thought maybe it's time that I saw Karate Kid, and I watched it last night, and I really loved it. There are some cliches because it's an old film, and the cinematography might look a bit, old-fashioned, but even though some parts of the film might, appear to be too familiar, it's a great film. You know, because probably, Mr. Miyagi, played by Potomoto, is such a fascinating person. Daniel is sincere and young, and and as a person, Daniel looks up to Pat Morita. Is Has a stellar performance. Mr. Miyagi is mysterious, and with depth, and he comes out as a handyman, but he turns out to be a karate master, and Daniel looks up to Mr. Miyagi, and he teaches Daniel how to karate. But first, Mr. Miyagi makes him, wax the cars and paint the walls, and Daniel thinks, "Oh, hey, Mr. Miyagi is just making use of me and taking advantage of it." But actually, that was a practice for karate move, and all these philosophical implications and Oriental philosophy are, I think, attractive hooks of the film. And the definitely approach to karate between the Cobra Kai and Mr. Miyagi is also very profound and interesting. The Cobra Kai master, he stresses the importance of aggression, right? Never show a mercy to your opponent. And on the other hand, Mr. Miyagi says that karate is for your defense. It's not to attack people, and he stresses that the balance of the mind is very important, which is, I think, is a profound point about Oriental philosophy. And and it's so poignant that Mr. Miyagi actually comes from Okinawa. Okinawa is a region with a really unique culture, and it has some complicated relations with the mainland Japan. And Mr. Miyagi came from Okinawa, but he fought in the American troops during the Second World War, and he got a medal for that. But sadly, Mr. Miyagi's wife and his child died during miscarriage in the concentration camp for Japanese people during the Second World War, which is really sad if you look back at, but at the time it happened, and all these historical implications, and the master of the Cobra Kai, a white male American, he actually went to Okinawa as a member of the American forces, and so all these things give historical and cultural depth to the film. But having said that, Karate Kid is a cultural icon still today, and although I watched it for the first time, I could see, how the film influenced many other films and cultural, movements. This idea that a person who is very versed in West Oriental philosophy of striking a balance in your mind and achieving mastery without being aggressive. Uh, I think this idea has actually captured the imagination of many people in the West, and which I think is a great thing because today we still suffer from too much aggression. People are there who think that aggression is, testimony to your strength, which is not. So I think we can learn a lot of lessons from Mr. Miyagi even today. So Pat Morita did a really great job by portraying Mr. Miyagi in the film, I think, and he did a great service to the mutual understanding between the West and the East. So the question is, do I watch the Cobra Kai on Netflix now? I don't know. I have too many things to do, and Netflix is releasing so many good films, so it's really difficult to catch up. But anyway, so if you haven't seen Card Gate, now is probably a good time to watch it. I watched on Amazon Prime in Tokyo, and also if you did watch Card Gate in the past, maybe it's a good time to see it again because you know Cobra Kai is starting. It has started actually on Netflix.